Growing up in a German family in the middle of an Italian-American neighborhood on Staten Island meant always being a bit of an outsider. In a circle around my childhood home were the following families: the Argentos, the Palladinos, the Ingalaneras, the Verdiglionis, the Santos, the Di Santos, the Muratoris, the Parlangelis, and the Vassiminis. True story. We were the Proellers. Our father spoke with an accent, but not an Italian accent. He smoked a pipe. This was the 1970s, the era of big American cars like the Lincoln Continental and the Ford LTD. Most of our neighbors had at least two of these cars parked in the driveway, one for each parent. And if a 20-something son or daughter lived at home, there might also be a Trans Am or a Camaro. We had one family car, a powder blue Volkswagen station wagon. It had two doors, a hatchback, and windows in the back seat that didn't roll down. Riding in my friends' cars felt like being in a living room on wheels. Our house was furnished with Danish modern and lithographs of 19th century German scenes hung on the walls. In the kitchen, you were more likely to find a pot of pea soup simmering on the stove, complete with a pig's knuckle, than spaghetti sauce. My mother shopped at Karl Amer, a German specialty store on Newdorp Lane, and made sandwiches for my brothers and me with aromatic salami or liverwurst spread on thick, buttered slices of rye bread. I used to beg her for Wonder Bread. She never gave in. Christmas was the time of year when my family's differences were most prominently on display to the outside world. In the weeks following Thanksgiving, our neighbors' homes lit up one by one with colorful lights and large illuminated plastic figurines. Frosty the Snowman, choir boys in red and white robes, or the entire nativity scene. My favorite was Santa's sleigh being pulled by reindeer on the Vassamini's roof. I'd stare out the window at this winter wonderland and wish we could string lights somewhere too. Our own holiday finery consisted of a single front door wreath that we made ourselves with branches clipped from a giant yew bush in the yard. Inside, there was an Advent wreath, also homemade, on the dining room table. Even though we bought our tree weeks before the 25th like everyone else, ours stood on the porch until Christmas Eve, when we would bring it in to decorate. While I may have coveted much of my neighbor's extravagance, I do have to admit that once trimmed, our tree was prettier than anyone's. We're German. We invented the Christmas tree. After a childhood spent feeling different from those around me, my chance to blend in with the crowd finally presented itself when I got to high school, or so I thought. Venturing into Manhattan to attend Stuyvesant, I remember thinking that surely, in the most diverse city in the world, my classmates would not merely be German or Italian, but a veritable melting pot of New York City's ethnic communities. I arrived at school on the first day, ready to be accepted by my fellow New Yorkers. Hi, I'm Marie. I'm from Staten Island. It was at that moment that I realized what would become a lifelong truth. To most New Yorkers, Staten Island is as far off a place as Seattle or St. Paul. Being born and raised there means always being a bit of an outsider.